Hello. So, you know how you've always been told that your career options are to be a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer? And this is more so the case if your parents came from a different country. They pretty much decided your entire life from the time you were born. Well, what I'm doing in these video series is I'm interviewing individuals around the country and talking about how they have stepped away from these traditional roles in order to find success in something they are truly passionate about. So take a peek at these video series and I truly hope you enjoy them. Hey Jasmine!
Hi.
How are you right now?
Good. Being a makeup artist is my primary. However, 3 days a week, I am a practicing mental health therapist.
That's what I thought. Okay, perfect. Okay, so why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself, where were you born, all that good stuff.
So I was born in Long Island, and I lived there until I was 6, and then I moved to New Jersey. I split my time between South Jersey and New York. And in South Jersey, I grew up in a very small town. I was one of very few brown girls who looked like me and
Right.
stuff. My mom was also born and brought up here, and we went through the same school system. So it's a very unique
That is
upbringing.
amazing because you don't hear a lot of people our age who are second generations, right? We're normally the first ones. That's amazing. And then so growing up in an environment where you were like the only Indian, okay, what was that like in school?
It was very interesting, and I'm lucky that I grew up in a town that was minority heavy. So even though I was a different minority, because it was a mixed school, people were interested in my story. And my best friend was Pakistani, and everyone was so interested in our culture, our religion, and people were always willing to learn. So I had a very good experience in the sense that everyone wanted to learn about us. Everyone had questions, and there was no bullying regarding our culture or religion.
As a child, what did you want to do when you grew up? Or grew up, I guess.
So, yeah, it's interesting. So I think I always loved the glitz and glam, but I never knew what that meant in terms of a career. So when my family wanted me to do, they wanted me to stick to more of the, I guess, traditional careers. They wanted me to stick to the doctor, lawyer, engineer, something a little bit more like practical. Counseling didn't seem practical. Counseling seemed like it was something that wouldn't make me money. It wasn't one of the like proper health careers. So because it wasn't one of the proper health careers and I was dealing with mental illness and mental health, it wasn't something that my family initially supported. So I ended up doing counseling, and I loved it at first, and I still have a lot of passion towards it. But I kind of found makeup artistry by accident.
So going into that then, because you found it by accident, would you say it's a passion of yours?
It is absolutely my passion. Because I was in college, experimenting from the time I was in 7th and 8th grade. So I just said, no, makeup, I didn't think anything of it. And they said, well, we have an opening in cosmetics. We're going to put you there.
Nice.
So I ended up in cosmetics for a few years. And then through that experience, I realized that a lot of the customers that were coming through the store were trying to hire me out of the store. And I realized that I could make more of myself and make more money doing it my own versus being in the store. So I ended up branching off at that point.
That's amazing. And so you already touched on how your parents reacted to you not being a doctor, lawyer, engineer. How did they react when you're like, hey, whoops, I really like makeup and I'm going to do that on the side? How did they react to it?
So it's interesting because I think and I've been in business for almost 8 years. I think that I still tiptoe around the situation. I'm very proud of my mom. She understands that most of my income comes from the business, and she understands that although it wasn't the traditional path, it's a business. Mm-hmm. So when I gave it to her more on the business spectrum and I explained the business end of it, she got it. She understood. And she sees a little bit more of like what I do because she's on social media. So she sees my work. She sees what I do a little bit more live than my grandparents. I live with my grandparents.
Okay.
So they see it more as I just do it for fun on weekends.
Right.
They don't see it as my job. So whenever I'm out working, they know I'm working, but they don't see it as work. They still see counseling as my primary. So to really discover what it is that you're passionate about and take your time with it. And even in high school, like there's so many different electives that you can take. There's different clubs that you can join. Really take the time to experiment. And this isn't something that always has to be a discussion either. So take your time to experiment. Take your time to really discover what it is that you like to do. And do your research about it. Talk to your counselors. Talk to your friends. Talk to different people in your family. And really do some research about the different careers that are out there, because there's so much more than just being a doctor, engineer, and lawyer.
Yeah, and a lot of them, I know like a couple of my grade 8s are like, I'm going to be a lawyer, and some of them I know will be amazing lawyers, and other ones I'm like, okay, you know, let's see what else you're good at, because it's not that you can't be a lawyer, it's will it actually make you fulfilled, right? Will it make you feel happy at the end of the day? I love it. It's great advice. In what ways do you feel like you may be a role model to young kids out there?
I think it's funny because I don't see myself as a role model, because I still feel like I'm growing up myself.
Of course.
But at the same time, I think that the fact that I didn't take the traditional route and I still handle my bills, I still am an adult, I still have successfully grown into myself. I got a master's degree.
Some of my girls, and possibly some of my boys, when they see this, they're going to see like, oh, I love makeup. So here's someone who is very well educated. They've got their master's degrees. And here's someone who's also passionate about colors and makeup. Almost like sometimes I think they see those two worlds may not exist. Yet you're a person that's saying, hey, they do. I am educated. I am smart. But I also love this industry of colors and art and, you know, makeup.
Yeah, and you figure it out along the way, and there's so many different aspects of the fashion industry. It's not just makeup. There's styling, there's creative direction, there's art direction. So there's so many different aspects of the fashion industry, not just makeup artistry or hair.
Of course, of course.
I think that it was being hardworking and not giving up. So I'm relentless. If I want something, I will go after it and I won't stop. So if that means like badgering photographers to work with me, badgering different people, like not stalking people in a bad way, but like going on Instagram and like liking people, like photos until they, like I grab their attention, like different things like that. And I've made some of the most meaningful connections, in the industry by like going on their Instagram and like liking everything and like commenting and like really building a connection on social media. So I think that being aware of how times have changed, because when I was starting out, social media wasn't a thing. So I think that, you know, being more of a people person and sociable helped me. So networking is so important with what I do, and being like relentless and hardworking and not giving up. Even though it's not easy being an entrepreneur, it's not easy being a small business owner, and it's not easy being a woman in this industry, because it is still male dominated, believe it or not.
I mean, what pressures have you faced so far with regards to just marriage?
So I am lucky that my mom's side, because I think they think I'm still growing up because of what I do. I think they kind of like let me slide because they're like, oh, she's still growing up. We can't sell her to anybody. She's still growing up. My dad's a lot more harsh when it comes to that. But my mom's side, very, very opposite. So I've dealt with, I guess, both extremes when it comes to the marriage aspect.
And how would you say you're dealing with that?
In school, it was very easy to say, well, I'm still in school.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm still doing my education. I'm still, like, I still have this many credits or this many years that I have to say, well, I'm still, like, working on my hours for my license. Like, I can't possibly go anywhere and get married. And, like, I always find a different excuse, reason to not get married. He's been okay. So I've always kind of blamed my career.